So for those of you who saw my last video, know that I'm currently trying to find a job through establishing a professional network and whatnot. I guess my current position is unemployed. Today I decided to take a break from the search and go for a walk around my area. I decided to bring a skateboard too, even though I'm a terrible skater, but it's still fun. As I was cruising around, I was doing a little reflection and I remembered a story from back when I was studying abroad. I wanted to share this story for those of you who are maybe having a bad day or who have the tendency to be a little hard on yourselves, so you can learn from my mistakes. This is the story of the time I lost my passport. Hey, my name's Kyle. I'm on a journey to find balance among the 8 dimensions of wellness. Along the way, I hope to have fun, meet new friends, and share what I learned. Subscribe for new videos every Thursday. What's going on? So I used to be someone that was like super hard on themselves all the time, right? Like especially back in college, and you know, back then I just didn't really know the difference between pushing myself to grow and like being hard on myself. And I think a perfect example of this is a story of when I lost my passport. It was when I was studying abroad in Barcelona, Spain. And you know, when you study abroad in Europe, like you do a lot of kind of weekend trips to nearby areas and stuff. So me and my friends decided that we were going to do a little Morocco trip. And the way we did it, it was like an organized group trip. So you paid for everything up front, like food and shelter and all that. And you'd have to meet the rest of the group who signed up for this trip in an area before you departed. So we had to meet the rest of the group in Sevilla, Spain before we left for Morocco. So me and my friends first had to fly from Barcelona to Sevilla, and we were going to spend a night there before we left for Morocco. And so when we got to Sevilla, we took a taxi to this hotel that we were going to spend the night at. And when we got to this hotel, we had to check in, and the lady working the front desk like asked to see everyone's passports, and I went to go check my bag to get my passport, and it just like wasn't there. And I started kind of freaking out, and I was looking through all of the pockets in my bag, and my passport was nowhere to be found. As I was out filming, I met a woman named Charlotte. We started talking and I learned she was an artist, a social worker, and loved to dance. I asked her if she wanted to share any important words, and this is what she had to say.
So my name's Charlotte, and I've got almost 60 years under my belt. Amazing, it goes fast. And I just want to shout out to all the isolated elders and the young people to hang in there and keep following that little call inside that says, I'd really like to do this now, because that's exactly what you're supposed to do. That is exactly what you're supposed to do. I call it a calling. It's a calling. I got a calling. It may not make sense to everybody else, but you know what? It's my responsibility to listen. Only I can listen. Only you can listen to that calling. And ultimately, the respect will come, but you don't get to know that first. You don't get to know that first, and that's not why you do it. You do it because it's your calling to show up here. The world needs you. We need you. And that's it. You do it for that reason. And the surprise is, wow, when you really respect yourself, other people will respect you.
I enjoyed meeting Charlotte, and I appreciate her for being so open with me. We said our goodbyes, and I continued on. So at this point, I was starting to get a little nervous, a little freaked out, because I just could not find my passport. And usually I do a pretty good job at like securing my passport, right? But it was just nowhere to be found. So we decided that the next thing we should do is go to the Sevilla Police Department. So we went to this police station, but I don't really speak Spanish, and understandably, like, the police couldn't really do anything to help me. So I was really pissed at myself, and I had to figure out how I was going to get back to Barcelona without an ID. So eventually I figured out that I needed to take a train back to Barcelona, because you could do that without an ID. So I went ahead and I bought a train ticket back to Barcelona, and I somehow lost that as well. And I was just like, it was a low for sure, you know? I was pretty like pissed at myself, pretty down. And it's kind of funny because I went to go buy a replacement ticket, and I think like the ticket clerk could just like tell I was having a pretty rough 24 hours, so he gave me a free ticket, even though there's kind of a language barrier. So I really appreciate that man for giving me a free ticket. So I ended up training back to Barcelona, and I ended up getting a replacement passport, and everything was like totally fine in the end. But I mean, throughout that whole process, I was just so down on myself and just like so mad at myself, and just kind of, you know, being hard on myself and telling myself over and over again, like, what an idiot I am, like, how could I lose my passport? Where in reality, like, it was probably stolen or something like that, you know? During that time in my life, I kind of thought that being hard on myself was the same thing as pushing myself to grow, but now that I'm older, I could definitely tell that there's a difference between the two, because being hard on myself, all it was doing was really bringing me down, and pushing yourself to grow should be something that builds you up. But basically, I mean, now that I look back on that whole situation, I kind of see it as a crucial growing moment for me. And I mean, now I just kind of look back and laugh at it, and I mean, it was an adventure, and it makes for a good story, I think. But yeah, now that I'm older, I could definitely distinguish the difference between being hard on myself and pushing myself to grow. So for those of you who have the tendency to be hard on yourselves, like I did, here are a few things that I would encourage you to keep in mind. Progress is not a perfectly linear line. You will have good days and bad days no matter what. The fact of the matter is that every day can't be a win. Try to learn from the bad days, pick your head up, and keep moving forward. Take a step back. When you're feeling down, try to take a step back and look at all the progress you've made. Sometimes it feels like we're losing in the moment because the more we grow, the higher standards we have for ourselves. But sometimes it's helpful to take a step back and look at where you were 6 months ago, 1 year ago, 2 years ago. You're making progress even if it doesn't feel like it, so be proud of yourself. Be a friend to yourself. Try to talk to yourself like you would a friend. When one of your friends messes up and makes some mistakes, you're not going to put them down and demand they be better. You're going to support them and try to build them up. You're going to say to them that it's okay. And that's how you should be talking to yourself too. You'll be okay. Just trust yourself. No matter how you mess up, realize that it'll all be okay. All you can do is really try to learn from your mistakes, pick your head up, and keep moving forward. Those bad days will seem bad in the moment, but a lot of the times, they are important growing pains. And who knows? Maybe whatever mistake it is that you made is just a story that you'll look back at and laugh about one day. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to join the journey, and I'd appreciate a comment below and tell me a little something about yourself. I respond to all the comments, so let's get to know each other. And yeah, see you next week.